Hey everybody, this is Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design. Welcome to Design Biz Season 2. Can you believe it? We just got through last year. You guys are coming in and saying hello, but we're already in Season 2. Let's face it, last year was the year to remember, but we are continuing having the conversation together. I think I probably did over 100 shows last year. You know how Netflix, 8, maybe 6 episodes? No, we did like 100 shows. So we want to stay connected to you. Oh, hang on. My guest is already here. Hang on a second. And I hear that there were 1.25 million vaccines given out, which is so great. Harry, oh my God, how are you? Harry Allen.
Good.
Yay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi, Harry.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so happy
I'm
to see
watching
you.
all the comments and hearts and stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at this social media.
That's okay, Harry. I'm so happy to see you, my friend. So everybody out there, this is a dear friend, Harry Allen. He's got a full service consulting firm that does industrial design, product design, interior design, creative services. He's like an amazing, amazing mind. And he's going to share a whole bunch of stuff with us today, which we're so lucky. First of all, Harry, how are you?
I'm surviving the pandemic. I'm up north of the city. I have a place up in Bedford, so I'm up there.
Yeah.
And I've been up here, basically. But I go back and forth to the city, and I have to say, New York City is striving, and the East Village is filled with little restaurants and people, so it's like, whatever, there's hope everywhere, right?
I know. That's our town, New York. So people are, like coming in and saying hello from all over the world.
Yeah.
New York City, those of us who are outside of the city right now, but New York is our hometown and we're missing it so much. And, we want it to be safe and healthy and get back there, right?
Yeah, I think everyone in urban areas is having the same issues, right?
Yeah.
It's all about people in cities, and we can't be
Right.
with people. So, but anyway, I have been fine. I'm up here, and just doing my thing. I'm actually in my studio up here in Bedford. So I had a good setup. Yeah, I had a good. It's sort of a mess. So I'm going to show it to you selectively.
Okay.
But
so wait a minute. I want to understand it. So you have a house there, and is there another building that's your studio?
It's a little barn that I converted a few years ago, and actually this used to be like my messy studio. Like I used to be able to make a mess in here, and then my husband John, he moved in, and he's very neat, and he's a landscape designer.
Right.
So I just built or am renovating my garage so I can have a studio out there to make my mess. So that's been my big project during the pandemic, is rearranging my life so I can make a mess again.
There you go. I get it. So first of all, say hi to John. For everyone out there, he for many years worked for Martha Stewart, right? So if you think orderly, right?
Yeah, he's a classic design. I have two sides to me. One side of me makes a big mess. The other side is very neat and organized. Yeah. He's all very neat and organized. Yeah. But I guess he has to make a mess to make things beautiful out in the yard also.
That's
but he's
true. He's out in the dirt, right? Exactly.
Yeah, he's out where his name is John Holm. So he does John Holm Landscaping. And actually one of the projects.
Hi, John. People are saying hi. Hello. Hi, everyone out there. So happy to see everybody 2021. I was saying I probably did like 100 shows last year. You and I were supposed to be on, and then a really bad week happened.
Well, I was worried this week was going to be another bad week too.
I know. That's what my husband and I, we were talking about. I'm like, oh my God, Harry's coming on again. But if we're going to we want to send good vibes out to the world, honestly. And first of all, that we all get the vaccine and get safe, and then the rest of it, which, it's all so insane. But I want to see your studio first. Can you give us a little pan so everyone, this is
should I turn my
yeah, let's see.
It really is a mess, but I can show you a little bit of it.
Okay.
So it's tiny. It's a really tiny space, and this is my half of it. Computer, that's my wall of stuff. These are a few projects I'm going to show you later.
Yes.
My toolbox, that's where my dog lays. And then this is John's side, which is actually, it's only messy because I pushed everything from my side of the room down there so that I could have this conversation today. But it's about
he's going to get mad at you. He's going to say, what?
I know. Well, he's in some seminar, so he can't watch. So he
all right, he won't know.
Oh,
he said we replay it, so. Well, okay, so you guys are okay. You're outside of the city. Have you been out there since March?
Yeah, I mean, I rented my apartment in the city when this whole thing went down and I'm actually renovating another space in my building that I'll live in post-pandemic. So I don't actually even have a place to sleep in the city right now. So we moved up here. Like I said, we did a big project up here. I heated the garage floor. That's all going to be a new studio for me. So it's like, actually, I've taken the opportunity of pandemic to sort of rethink all of my working situations, which I think a lot of people are reevaluating, right? Like everyone's there. All of a sudden, your country home is your permanent home, and like everything is crazy. So I've sort of been doing the same thing, and that's actually what's been keeping me busy during this whole thing.
Yeah. Now, Harry, do you have, so for everyone out there, so it's Harry Allen Design. You can go and follow him on Instagram, and he has another site we'll talk about later when we talk about your other products. But because you're a consultant, you work on projects. So, I remember going to the studio and you had lots of people there working. That might have been a different time, but do you hire people as you need them? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I used to have a studio filled with 6 designers and me and a studio manager and the whole thing. Yeah. And that all really sort of was chilling out the last few years. Yeah. And then I had a series of amazing interns and young designers who ended up becoming this network of people that I deal with in foreign countries. Actually, one of them is down in Ecuador, and one of them is in India. And, it's sort of amazing what you can do now with that. So I have this network of people. And then really my focus in the last year has become, I happen to have a couple of consulting projects right now. I have a couple of lighting projects going on. I have some furniture conversations going on. I'm not really doing interiors anymore. I'm really only doing product design.
Products,
So those things are happening. But then about a year ago, I had all of these projects that I really wanted to bring into the world, and I'm fascinated by sort of new technologies of making things that really require less people, to be perfectly honest. There's all digital printing and stuff like that. It all gets serviced out, right? You don't have a bunch of people making things. So there's that going on. And then there's also all these sort of new platforms for self-making, self-production. And so I thought, I had a few projects that I really just wanted to execute, and some of the best things I've ever done, like my piggy bank or any that whole line, no one wanted to make that. I showed that to everyone and no one wanted to make it.
And what do you mean? I thought AreaWare. Do you have it?
Well, AreaWare ended up making it, but for a year and a half, 2 years, I made that myself. I had boxes of pigs in my basement that I was shipping out, let me sometimes you just have to do it, right?
Yeah. I want to show everybody, because I was, so if anybody, we'll talk about the head, but the pig is iconic, this was Harry's, you're so brilliant. This was so long ago. I still go on the site and I always think of you, and I have a pig, and and you have the gold-plated pig and the silver-plated pig. But amazing thinking, amazing work. It's interesting. People are responding right now, Harry, and saying everyone's doing, trying to figure out how to do their own production. Someone was saying that. Hello from Ghana.
One of the most amazing moments that I had during this whole pandemic was I did a crit for RISD in the spring, and all those kids, they had to go home mid-March or whatever, and they were home, and they had to complete these projects. And I have to say, it was the most heartwarming experience. It was creativity, like raw creativity. Like there was this one gal, she went out in the barn, like the barn in the back of her house, and she painted, like she did this whole thing in this, you know, and it was in with the backdrop of the pandemic. But then of course she was home, like with her family doing this thing, and like it just gave me hope, like that creativity can continue and people can still do great things. But I mean, that's sort of an aside, but yeah, I mean, like that's what we have to do, is like
I love that.
How
somebody, so just so you know, someone's saying please do a critic Pratt, so get in touch with Harry because he's amazing. I think that I think what you're saying is so true, and you're someone who's been through, you've had a big perspective and, you know, your own language, but you've always shifted depending on, you know, what's happening in the world and the time. So you have to be that thing. You're right.
Yeah, you know, it's like, I mean, I have many sides to my personality and my creative personality. And like, I loved being in the boardroom, like listening to a whole bunch of different people and like nailing the design, you know, like nailing the design in the midst of that. Like that was really fun and interesting. But I also like wake up in the morning and go, let's cast a pig and make it into a piggy bank. Like I have very different, and that's all fine with me. And like right now I'm going through this very sort of like designer, almost as artist phase where I'm, you know, like I said, like I'm building a studio where I can actually make things and make a mess. Not that you have to make a mess, but I feel like you have a really nice setup there, don't you? With like a ring light and
I've got a whole set, okay?
I see that because my arm isn't even long enough to make this a good perspective.
Can you do you have to hold it the whole time? Are you holding it?
I'm holding it, but I don't want to. I want it up.
Oh,
you know what I'm gonna do? Hang on a second. I'm gonna.
Okay. All right, everyone. Harry's getting himself settled. Okay.
I have a. Oh, that's not gonna work. I'll just wear my arm out. This isn't that long. So So I decided this past year that I really want to make some things that I had in my idea box that no one else wanted to do for a variety of reasons. And probably when I talk about them, everyone will go, oh, well, no wonder nobody wanted to make them, but I still want to make them.
I think that's amazing, Harry. I think you're
right. So I just started in a bunch of different venues, and I don't know what you're going to start with.
Whatever you want me to. Wait, first of all, I have to say that I still really love, I don't know if they make it, I still really love the vase that was made out of all of the brushes, that's so beautiful. It's really beautiful.
That was a beautiful piece. Yeah, I think they still make that. Things go in and out of that line that I actually have some new work for them coming up in next year. Yeah, a fun piece, and it sort of shifts the direction of that a little bit. Ceramic, and it'll be a planter for them. But that brush vase was really fun. You know, my mother is a very talented but sort of hobbyist artist. You know, she's always been a painter and made ceramics and stuff like that. So like that jar of brushes,
I love it.
That's just something that was always in my life and on my mother's desk and stuff like that. And so I just thought, oh, is there some way? And then, well, whatever. There's a lot of reference for it. I mean, usually those things, there's a lot of reference, but there are all those Rothko brushes and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that about that. It's so beautiful, Harry. You're like so special. And I love to hear about your mom too, which I still remember you telling me you were renovating her place. Oh
my God. I still,
and how hard that was.
We just sold that house actually, which was sort of a sad moment for the family, but my mom's doing okay. She's oh my God, this whole pandemic on older folks is just hard. I mean, it's horrible on everyone,
I know.
So
Harry, I have images down below, but it cuts you off even more. I don't know. Can you pull back a little bit or no? Or is it too hard?
Just bear with me just a second.
Okay. All right, hang on, everybody. Harry's got to get himself together here.
I do. I don't know why this is. You want to see? Look at my feeling. I'll be right back.
Okay, Ola from Panama. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to see all of you saying hello from all over the world. It's been a little while since the holidays, and I have amazing talent just lining up to talk so that we can share together. Because that's the most important thing for me, is that as designers that we keep connecting and connecting with each other. And I don't want you guys to feel alone. Some of you are so isolated. We don't want you to feel alone. Oh, there's Harry again. Okay.
Here I am. Let me
By the
see.
way, I've gotten pretty good at just talking, like if I need to.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, much better. Good boy.
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay. I'm going to start with the heads. You don't mind, because they're so special. Can we start with them?
Yeah, absolutely. That was where I was going to start anyway.
Okay, good. All right. There you go. So there is Harry. So tell us, first of all, it's called Applied Portraits, right?
Yeah, and actually there's a whole website on it, appliedportraits.com. And this was a project I've always wanted to do, like the art show circuit, the design art show circuit, and, you know, salivate over Design Miami. And I thought that it would be, so this is in the effort to self-produce, right? That's a forum where people like literally make things and bring them and sell those things, right? Not industrial design where you're mass producing things.
Right, right.
So I had this idea, and it's a little morbid, but it's sort of like in my head, the idea was that wouldn't it be interesting to create, because like everything in the reality line, like the piggy bank line, has a direct relationship, like the form has a direct relationship with what it does, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I had this idea that I thought it would be interesting to create a line of funerary urns that were scanned and produced in the likeness of the people that would go in them eventually. So like conceptually, I thought that was a really interesting idea. The thing is that was where it started. It ended up being a lot of other things also, like I'm making vases and piggy banks and stuff now, but so mine actually is my funeral urn. And eventually, I don't know if I'll even go in it. Like, I just love the idea of it. But so then people talked me down from that high platform, and I added all these other objects. But the idea is that, and I set up this booth at Design Miami where people would come in, we would literally digitally scan them. Then I had to take that information, turn it into this object, and then it gets printed and ends up being an object, you know, it gets sent to the people as an object. So it's like, I don't know, I just thought it was a really interesting culmination of what you can do with technology these days. And it also enabled me to have, go on, please.
Yeah, no. It's so interesting, and I love like seeing this. So Harry, so you get scanned like a frontal and a side. Like, tell us what happens after that.
Well, it's actually a digital scan. So you're not capturing two-dimensional information, you're capturing three-dimensional information. And, you know, when we do it, you get all sorts of fuzz and extra information and stuff like that. So that's actually, this one's great because you actually, the flowers go in the mouth. That's my friend Stefan. These are all people from my life too. Like,
that's why I love seeing this one, because I can tell they're your friends or people that you know. It's my
whole family.
Yeah.
Actually, here I have the one. So this is my mother, because everything comes back to my mother. My chair is so noisy. And there she is, Mom. It's so funny because when I had her at the show, someone said, so how did you get the Queen of England to sit for you? I was like, no, that's my mother. And so she's a vase. So there's a little piece that comes off the top, and there's a cavity inside. You can put water inside. I mean, they're digitally printed ceramic. And the factory is only now getting up and running after the whole pandemic and everything. So,
Harry? Who's the guy in the blue? Is it like Blue Man Group kind of thing?
That's my high school friend Steve Henry, who runs the Paula Cooper Gallery in New York. And he always wears a bow tie, and you know, they're all friends.
So good looking. It's so good.
Yeah, it's fun. And, you know, they don't have a lot. I mean, they have about 1 million different colors that I can use to glaze them. They're all sort of monochromatic colors. And they, like the blue and myself and John, the gray one in the background, those are all engobes. So they're very, very matte, which is really wonderful.
I love the matte. Oh, John, there's your partner, John.
Yeah, that's my husband, John.
Yeah, the husband. By the way, I love this side view. Is like incredible. Someone said slightly creepy. Wow, but you're getting all this like really interesting comments. People are really.
I love slightly creepy.
I know. I knew you would. I knew you would. I knew you would. I knew. But look at this. It's like insane. They are beautiful at the same time. This one is really so special, right?
So much fun. So I had this concept. Eric loved it from Design Miami. I set up this booth there. We did scanning in the booth, and I took a bunch of orders, and it's been the whole production thing has been another thing. So I don't want to get into it, but the concept is great, and I'm going to continue with it. And then actually now I'm adding jewelry, and I'm adding silver. So like this is actually a rendering of, that's my great niece, Ingrid, who we scanned when I was down in Miami. She goes to the University of Miami. And then we just made her into an earring. I just gave these to her mother in gold.
You have to stand up so we'll be able to see it, because there's
comments. I will. I'm going to come closer, but I haven't used this hole since college, like.
Oh, yeah. That must be hard, yeah.
It's a little
and then how long does it, Harry, how long does it take to produce it? Like, and who's producing it?
So the ceramic is produced in Ukraine. I can't even do this. I'll hold it up to the camera.
Let's see. Oh yeah. Fantastic. Beautiful.
So that's, and it's her exact. These I'm just doing as profiles, and that's silver. I've done them in gold, and so that's the ceramic is done in Ukraine. There's a company called, I don't want to give all my sources away, but there's an amazing company in Ukraine.
Yeah. And then someone also asked, how long does it take to scan? Like when you're sitting there getting the scan?
Scanning takes, 3 minutes, a minute.
Oh, wow.
But we usually do a few of them. It's very fast. And I have some great people that I work with. I have a great source in New York. And then I have sort of a little bit of a network all over the place. Like I can find scanning in LA and Miami and major cities and stuff.
By the way, my good friend Mavis, hi, Mavis is on. She loves them both. Mavis, you got to do this. It's so cool. Now, is this like a real person, like a whole body scan?
Yeah, so this is where I'm going with it. I wanted to do some precious metals. These are all going to be silver plated. This is just a rendering that you're showing now. Actually, here's the first. This is a plastic print of Antonio. So that's
my God.
That's my friend Antonio.
Wait, I have to take a picture. Well, we're going to take a picture later, so you have to have that near. That is amazing.
And that's the same information that's in the.
There he is.
Exactly
there. And it's a candle holder. Okay, so I just want everyone to like absorb Harry's mind a little bit. If you can try to like absorb the mind.
But I think, like, to me, like, there are all these great examples of the human form in artwork and design.
Right.
Of course, it's way out of fashion. I was in Rome a few years ago, and I was like, there's like people on everything. There's people on the bridges. There's people on buildings. It's like that. Yeah. And now it's just so out of fashion. And also in design, everything's so abstract. And I have a whole practice of abstract design. Yeah. So it's not that I don't like that.
No.
I just think this is really interesting, and that it adds something like having my mother as a vase. I mean, it makes me weepy. I think it's such a beautiful idea, that I'll have that forever. But also, like, I love the idea, like, as a couple, you could do side-by-side candlesticks or something in silver forever. I just think it's a nice idea.
Beautiful.
So I've been having fun with that, and I think conceptually it's really interesting. And the other thing that's amazing about it, because we were talking about the business side of things a little bit, like the digital production, it isn't really there. Like everyone wants it to be there, but it's like it's sort of expensive because you're making one piece at a time. And so what I figured is if I could find something that was valuable enough, then it would be worth it. And I feel like these objects are valuable enough to merit that, right? And so, and then also you're making them just one at a time. So like literally I send the file off, the piece comes back, I add things to them so they're identified and everything.
Yeah.
And then it goes out of the studio, and that's it. Like, from a business perspective, it's amazing. It's not stacks of boxes and all that.
Right.
So.
Right. Harry, somebody, a place agency design, I don't know who they are, but they said, don't worry, people are going to be back in when we can actually see each other, which they do have a point. So,
yeah. It's been this project, like, I was like, Design Miami is amazing. It's so many people, and I met so many great people. And like I said, I took orders and the whole thing. But this is sort of a very community thing. It's like you have someone there scanning. I don't know if you have the picture in there, but I actually have a picture. We did one scan during COVID of Antonio, the candlestick, and it's like outside and they're wearing masks. It was a really cold day in September, like an awfully cold day in September. There it is. So actually, to make that candlestick, I had him hold that tube. So it's not exactly the right size, but we were able to manipulate it. And that's Victor, the guy who does all of my scanning for me. And they all came over. We had this distanced lunch, and then we, went out in the backyard and did this scanning session. Which that's John's beautiful landscaping in the background.
Yeah, that is gorgeous. But I don't understand. That's not Antonio, is it? Or it is Antonio, but he's masked.
That's Antonio masked. And then and then he took it off to do the face.
So guys, but he can. So there he is. There he is. I mean, oh no, he hasn't seen this yet because it doesn't exist. So how long
Well, he's seen the plastic one. That was actually the second scan. If you'll notice that on that one behind me, his hands are at his side, and I was going to put the candle in his head, but then it was ridiculous. So then I had him come back to rescan, holding the candle out in front of him, which I like a lot better because he's actually holding the candle like it's
I like that too. I like
nicer
that too.
gesture.
Yeah,
that was where we were doing that.
He's like, I mean, everyone's interesting. So that's the other thing. You get the hook that, everyone's personality is them. But he's beautiful because long and lanky and,
Well, and it's also like, like he was wearing, the first time he did it, he was wearing a scarf and stuff like that. I didn't think about it, but actually his fashion choices it's very much part of him anyway. And then it was like, oh wow, that's really great. Like, I loved the way it was him, very much him in many aspects, not just the the physical, the visage, but visage.
Definitely. Yeah, well, that the visage. All right, so let's keep moving. We have it's a little bit harder to see this, but why don't you explain the concept of this?
Okay, so this is a project John and I. This was cooked up pre-COVID, although it really makes sense these days because we're like in our in each other's faces. But John is a master gardener, landscape designer. Like you said, he had worked for Martha for a few years, and then had a couple of long-term clients, and then now he has his own John Home Landscape Design. You can go and look at his work.
Okay, everybody, he's pitching John Home Landscape, but he's so lovely. I'm sure he's as talented, but he's so lovely. Yeah,
he's a great guy, and but anyway, and he has a few different expertise. One is in sort of naturalistic landscapes, but he also is incredibly good at alpine gardening. That's why I start with this image. And it's something that I've become a little bit fascinated with. Basically, alpine gardening is gardening for plants that come from alpine regions. And because they come from alpine regions, often they're dwarfed by nature. So they get blown and windblown and lots of really tough environment. They also grow in very lean soil. And one of the things that you do in alpine gardens is you put them in troughs. They're raised beds. They're usually made out of cement, and the water can drain through its very lean environment. But they're beautiful, they're precious, and you can see here, you can make little landscapes with them.
So beautiful.
They're really
By the way,
wonderful.
was it John's birthday? Because somebody's saying happy birthday. Was it his birthday?
Oh yeah, it's his birthday tomorrow. That's fun. Thank you.
Oh, Indigo 68. Happy birthday, John.
he's gonna he's gonna kill me that he's become such a big part of this, but he
He's
doesn't need
become
to
a
know,
big
right?
part of
Don't
this whole
anyone
show.
tell
Well,
him.
all right, so this
So I had this idea that wouldn't it be interesting to take those alpine plants and put them in an alpine setting or like a conceptual setting.
Yeah.
So like for instance, and these are all just concept pieces. That's the topographic information from the Matterhorn. And then I take that topographic information and elevate it so that it mimics that mountain scenario, and then the idea is that we'll produce them as troughs in cement, digitally printed cement that then can live outside in a that's the cement, the digital printer. So it's another one of these ideas where the production is digital, although that you would really only make one, you wouldn't make a lot of them. And so now I'm doing a big push to try to install one of these, and we'll see. I don't know, like it's one of the, you got to find the client, right? Like it's but I thought this might be a good forum to show it in, because there's a lot of interior designers and stuff, and I thought maybe
you never know. You never know, right? You never know.
Needs a focal point that's a mountain.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Although people are still commenting on all of this, just so you know, they're still commenting. So hopefully you can get a little action, because it's fantastic. But
good. It's all good.
Harry can do anything. Clearly, Harry can do anything.
you asked me what I was working on, now and in the future, and I would rarely actually show a project that wasn't executed, like the mountains, but whatever, it's what I've been working on. So you asked me.
I love that. I love that, and I love that you're doing it together. So that's
I think it would be really fun to do a project together. I think it would be. I love, this. I love collaborating with people, and
Somebody's saying, where can I get my own piece? Just know you go to Harry Allen Design, and
for
Harry Allen. Which one?
They're talking about a piece for the applied portraits.
I don't know what they're talking about. That's what I'm saying. Well,
if you're interested in the applied portraits, I have made a website that's just appliedportraits.com, and you can go there and you can see all these pieces, and you can contact me through the website, and then I'll know that that's what it's about. If you want a mountain, you can just go to my website, Harry Allen Design, and email me through there.
Right. And just so you know, because it's hard for people to kind of get all this stuff. If you have any questions, his name's Harry Allen. Go find Harry Allen Design. You'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. All right. So there's one last one, and I love this because you're actually trying to do a Kickstarter, right, for this?
Yeah. So this is my next project in my line of self-production. That's a real product thing, whereas the mountains are this sort of much larger
Supernet.
scale.
I love it. It's called Supernet.
It's called Supernet, and it's a wastebasket, and it's actually made out of a hardened basketball net.
Amazing.
I know this. I first showed this. You might have seen this. I first showed this project with Stefan Hengst, who was the Red Man.
Yeah.
That's Stefan. And a friend, furniture designer, Casey Lurie, and we showed all together at the ICFF. And I was showing a few prototypes, and I showed this then. And then I sort of put it away because I didn't want to show it around too much. I was concerned about the idea.
I don't remember seeing this. I mean, and I know I love all your work, but I don't remember this. So go ahead.
And what I love about it is it's actually, so I had the original ideas, like it's once again form and function, like the idea that you throw stuff in a wastebasket. I mean, it's not a new idea. There's all those stupid little ones that basketball nets that hang over the wastebasket, and I don't mean to call them stupid, but it's it's not a highbrow idea. But actually, that's sort of the beauty of all the reality stuff, is like it's borderline kitsch, but it should, like, if you can pull it back into the world of sort of high culture, then it's got that tension.
Exactly.
And so this is actually I take the net gets impregnated with resin. I've developed a very complex mold in order to suspend it and make them uniform. The original ones, all these prototypes that I'm showing, were made here in the United States, and I was trying to produce them. That's actually Bradford Shellhammer's apartment.
Oh, really? It looks like
to
a
let
nice
me use his apartment as a background.
Nice.
That's why it's so good.
Yeah.
But the so I made all these prototypes, and then now in order to make it affordable, the production will be in China, which I would like to eventually change, but for the moment, that's what I had to do in order to make it. And so it's Supernet. I've now started this Kickstarter for it to try to get the money to do because when you do mass production, you have to make a lot of them in order to make it, and you have to make all the molds and all that stuff. So it was a big number, and I thought, well, maybe if I do this Kickstarter, I can build some momentum for it and sort of build a little bit of a community around it. And one of the wildest things about it is trying to make inroads into the sports community, because everyone who's into basketball loves it, but my world is design, and everyone in the design world goes, oh, that's cool, like they totally get it, but if I can get it in front of the basketball crowd, I think that's going to be, so I've been working on that.
Right, and it's different than somebody was asking. Yes, it's a basketball net. Are you looking at trying to recycle basketball nets at all?
I would love to recycle basketball nets. It's a little hard out of the gate, because that's going to be, it's like, where do they come from?
Exactly.
And usually they're like threadbare by the time
but
people are done with it. But I'd love to do something like, if there was a major game, you take one, you make it out of it, and then that goes to the star player, or
that's cool. That's really cool.
You sell it as a special item. There's also, it's so funny because everyone has a different association. There was and I knew nothing about basketball either. So I'm like learning, and on my Instagram for this is at Supernet 2012. And that I'm following all of these sports people and sports blogs, and it's been really interesting. Sometimes I'll just go down the hole,
down the hole, right?
I'm like, oh my God, how did I end up watching this? But it's actually, so the whole thing is fascinating. It's just it's a whole nother world. And so anyway, that's Supernet, and it's been totally fun. And the Kickstarter is going. I started it yesterday. So if anyone knows anyone who's into basketball, or and basically the way Kickstarter works is you offer incentives on product, to, like, I'm giving a 40% discount on product that you'll get for next holidays, for holiday 2021. So
my head of digital used to be head of digital for, I want to say, the NBA or one of the teams or something. So I'll ask him about it.
Please.
But, the thing that's so interesting, like you said, is like when you think about sports and like trophy ideas, or they tend to go off, like, this is a design piece, right? So this would be really great to communicate design to sports fanatics, right?
Well, I thought it was, like the funerary urns was like, funeral and design isn't like a common, should be, and there are some amazing examples of it, but the sport world and the design world don't play together that much. And it's actually this really beautiful world. One of the things I'm going to do and I've started, but now I'm so busy, pushing the Kickstarter, that I haven't gotten around to it, is I would very much like to look for great examples of sports and design that I can showcase on the website, so that it becomes so it's more interesting than just a, sales venue for Kickstarter. And there are a lot of, I was playing around with all of the lines and the graphics from the playing fields and stuff like that, which is really beautiful. And there's a few people, do you know this Pieces by Aesthetic Pursuit? Have you ever seen this.
I don't know.
Pieces is the name of their
Uh,
line, and I think
uh-huh.
Aesthetic Pursuit are the
I see.
designers,
Uh-huh.
and they, oh, I see all the hearts going up. People must
Yeah.
like them. I didn't
No,
know
they're
them
liking
before
them.
this, but they do all of these beautiful, like, I've put some of it on the Instagram page too. They do all these. They pull from the world of sport actually and
Yeah.
use it in design. So it's very interesting. I mean, it's whole interesting, very fertile landscape for
Yeah, it's
design, I
beautiful.
think.
By the way, flip it. It also would make a nice light if you flipped it over,
You know,
right? I'm
you're
sure you
not
looked
the
at that.
first person
I'm
who's.
sure because it looks like it.
Yeah, it would be a beautiful lamp, and I might actually do that. I'm actually
Yeah.
the next, if we're going to show the next project, the tea lamp, that's
Yeah.
actually going to be the next piece that goes with this. It's in the same
Yeah.
line.
Yeah. Wait. Let me go to this because this is the first like sort
Okay.
of interesting. So tell us about the tea lamp.
So, I just did something crazy here. Oh no.
We see you. We see you.
You okay?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, that's actually me. That's my body.
That's a pretty good one, huh?
Not bad for 56, right? It was probably done when I was 55, and I have a feeling I might have dyed it a little bit before I went into the scanning booth.
You're looking pretty good.
But it's very complex how it's made because it's actually an internal mold for this new project that I'm doing, and it's a very similar project because it's also made out of where you take fabric and it's impregnated with one of the things I wanted to say about Supernet actually, and the beauty of one of the beauties of Supernet is that when you take a net and you impregnate it with fiberglass, you're actually, or you impregnate it with resin, it actually becomes like fiberglass. Like you would be amazed at how strong that thing gets. And like, to me, that was part of the beauty, was that like the manufacturing. And so this is actually a t-shirt that I take and I also dip it in resin, and then it goes on that mold, my body mold. So it's sort of like I'm the negative part of the lamp, right? I'm the negative space in the lamp. And I'm actually working on a few other pieces. Like I'm starting to scan other people. Is Arden, that's actually, do you know the little pink piggy bank? My friend Arden, while she's my niece, while I was scanning her for the piggy bank, I said, let's do so she's going to be one of my next tea lamps. So I started doing me, and these are going to be the next pieces that I'll add to, and also it has that whole information part of it too. So like this is actually the first time I showed them. That image there was with a Brazilian group, and I did that Brazil t-shirt, the soccer t-shirt, and I sold it like that because someone liked Brazil, the soccer team, like.
Now somebody could give you a t-shirt, right?
Yeah, I can do specific t-shirts. I should have a couple of them though, because I have a few. I'm just starting up with this, and I have a few fails, and I'd love to do like a whole dancing family, and this has so much potential. So
Harry, just like, how would you describe this kind of fascination that you have? Because it's definitely like kind of your language. I know you've done a lot of different things, so but right now you're on this like kind of trajectory somehow. Yeah,
well, somehow, because I would really like to make a go of this producing myself, and I've sold a lot of the reality. I call that line reality.
Yeah.
The pigs and the hands,
the pig
and
the,
I do for area wear,
banana bowls, and
and because I'm literally lifting from life, and it was when I started doing it when reality TV was really a big deal, and actually I align it directly with that. Like to me, life is really beautiful, and there's so many beautiful things in the world, and then people, like in all their shapes and forms, are beautiful, so it's like, I think it's a very positive thing. Like it's like but it does align with like sampling in music and reality television, where you're going out into the world and you're just saying, here, this is interesting, and it already exists, and as little processing as you can do on it, because it's already a beautiful world, that's sort of where it comes from, but I don't have any. And then also the material transformation for me is
Right.
really
I was going to
fun,
say the
like where it's
materiality.
like all of a sudden it's monochromatic and it's made in a different material, and like
Right.
you look at it in a different way. Like it's not just, you know, it's not just mom, it's like yellow mom,
Right.
like,
Right.
and all of a sudden you notice different things about mom, like um her physicality and stuff. So it's so funny because all of the hair has to be recreated. It doesn't scan very well. And the guy who does all my digital processing, actually, he was the one that was scanning in that picture of Antonio. He is very good at recreating the hair. And when my mother saw her hair, she's like, oh my God, he nailed it.
Oh, that's so great.
It really looks
that's so
like
great.
her hair.
But
and actually, you see on the left there, that's Eileen Shaw.
Oh, that's Eileen. Oh,
yeah.
Because her hair, you know what? Because it's in shadow, it looked like somebody with shorter hair, but now I could see it because it's like kind of longer.
Yeah, because it's a little hard to do the long hair, but
yeah.
And none of them are exact, but they're all very close. Like you know who they are, and it's I mean it's coming from literal information that you've gathered. So but the process, it's actually a very forgiving. Like you can't print a wrinkle. You can't print blemishes.
That's important for people to know. But also I like what you said just about like there's beauty in everybody, right? Like everyone is, and when you see these, and I'm sure your indigo friend, it looks like him. But I also love that you just took everything away except who they were and maybe something like an accessory or something that's part of like their identity. It's like the identity, Glasses
are very important, actually, on people. It's right, it's like so that's one thing, and it's very easy for me to do, and it's something that in that world, like I'm not completely this exists, like Doob, the company that makes the little, there's a lot of it. It exists already, but it exists in sort of a tchotchke sort of way. Like I don't really want a Doob of myself, but this is like all of a sudden it's like this, and there's this great history of busts in my booth at I wanted to sort of put it in context, and so in the booth I had in the actual scanning area I had collected all these great examples of portraiture and busts through the ages, and like, but it's sort of gone now. Like certainly people do it, but very rarely would someone, and it's like, that's what people would come into the booth and they'd go, oh, well, I would never do that of me, but they might do it of their kid or something like that, and because it's just out of fashion now to sort of document yourself like that. But of course it's okay to like post like a billion selfies of yourself, but it's not okay to like make a bust that would sit on on your chest of drawers or something like that. So these are all things I'm working on now. They're and I don't know where it comes from, creatively.
You just that. I mean, that's what's so interesting about you is, I mean, you've designed so many other things, and what was I loved your first aid kit. You've designed so many other things, but like this is personal, and I love that you're trying to figure it out based on a lot of experience that you've had in the industry.
Yeah, and I think, and I sort of would like to, in the end of this, have a little collection. I mean, it's like, what's a collection if part of it is scanning people and printing them out? Like, I don't really know what it's going to look like at the end, but I do sort of believe that I'd like for it to be a little bit, and it is my art, but I do have quite a bit of things. Just put this together sort of as a cohesive group. Are we being bumped off? No. I see you were spinning like that, but
I don't know. No, I think I think we just lost you a little. Someone's saying, people are so you always get these like trolls coming on. Thanks a lot. But but most people, everyone someone just said right before that they loved that you made it contemporary the minute you put color on it. You made it like super modern. Someone who's from Arbor Plus saying they love you. Somebody else. just don't, stupid people.
I'll have to go back and look at all that afterwards. I'm so confused because my screen is messed up, but I'm not going to get into it now because
people
as long
were
as you can see.
Can I tell you, people were absolutely fascinated. I want to take, what I'm going to do is, because I like to take a picture and I like to have the comments off. I want to take a picture of us together, and I also want you to bring Bob and Antonio, and we'll try to take a picture that way too. Okay.
I have to tell, it was so funny because this morning when we were doing the, can you see me? Because I can't see me.
I will. What were you going to say? This morning what?
This morning when I jumped on just to do the test.
Yes.
And so we were on Instagram Live for like a hot minute. Of course, all these people start following. And one of them that jumped on was Antonio. And I thought, I wonder if he's going to watch tonight because, of course, I
wish. You should have told him. That is so funny. No,
I didn't know he was
going to. All over the world who are absolutely loving you. So hang on a sec. Wait, let's take a couple pictures. Okay, bring him closer because I can't really see. I just have to keep clicking. Yeah, that's cute. All right. Okay, I think we must have something.
Is that your look?
Well, I can't see what I'm clicking, so or else you'll see me looking down. So I
got it.
Right, I always look up.
You've done this before.
Oh yeah, I've done it before.
It's so nice to see you,
Harry. It's lovely to see you. A big birthday hug to John, who is clearly the star of the show.
I know, unknown to him.
And love to your mother. I love that these days more than ever, like how important family is, and to hear you talk about your mom and the love for your mom, and it makes me feel good about the world. And I just sending a lot of love out to the world and positivity for a better 2021, that's for sure. But you're my first guest in 2021, so a big virtual hug to amazing dear friend Harry Allen, and we'll talk soon. But let's stay in touch.
Thanks for having me here. This was really enjoyable, and it's great to see you.
Oh yeah, and for everyone out there, wait, let me hang on. For everyone out there, so Harry Allen Design. Let's talk about Harry Allen Design. You can catch him on the Instagram, Harry Allen Design, or you can, somebody was asking about the 3D printing. What was the other thing you wanted everyone to know?
Applied Portraits. I don't have an Instagram for that, but there's a website for Applied Portraits. It's like Applied Design, Applied Portraits.
Okay. And people are saying they love you and so much goodness. And remember to follow me on the Cindygram. And so, but if they needed to, they go to Harry Allen, they can find you and connect.
Harry Allen Design, the website gets you everywhere. And
there you go. All right. There you go. Round of applause for Harry Allen. We love him. Someone saying Applied Design. Yes. Okay. Big hug. Ciao.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye. How do now I'm forgetting how I go off. Oh, right. Okay, wait. Hang on.